In this video, we will show you how to make a rich profile on UrbanPro. And to help you do that, we will explore in detail points like the 9 elements that make a rich profile, how to enrich your profile using the gallery and additional information, and how to craft professional replies for students. So let's get started. Now, your profile is actually very crucial to your success because your profile is like your resume, and it gives students and their parents an idea of what your qualifications and skills are. And they also may be using your profile as crucial decision-making factors in whether or not they want to engage with you on the as a tutor. Now, what they're basically looking for when they look at your profile is to be told whether the tutor is verified, has recommendations, and has enough teaching experience, and can speak multiple languages or can speak the one language that they prefer, and has the tutor actually taught in any schools or colleges in the past. Basically, what they're doing is that they are looking for a tutor who is trusted and capable, and they should be trusted and capable of helping their children or they themselves improve their performance. Now, to make sure that you meet that criteria or present a good profile, what you need to do is have what we call a rich profile. So what a rich profile is basically one which gives a lot of information to the students or their parents, and all of this information is relevant to the subjects and the tutor. And if you were to look at this example, which is in front of you right now, the profile on the right, there is no profile picture here. There are no reviews. There's no indication of how many subjects or what subjects are being taught. And yes, languages are mentioned, but again, it's very limited information. But if you look at the profile on the right, there is a profile picture. So you already know that this is the gentleman that I'm going to be engaging with. There are also reviews available. So if you want, you can go and see what other students have said about their experience with this tutor. There's a quick summary of the subjects that this person teaches. And there is also information on how many students this person has taught in the past, along with a nice good looking description, which you could read to get an idea of what sort of an experience does this person come with. So what we want to do is actually create a profile which meets all these criteria. And that is exactly what we're going to look at next. Okay, so to become a tutor with a rich profile, what you're going to need to do is work through this checklist of 9 important fields. Now, these fields are going to be very crucial because if you have these 9 fields, sorted, you are already on your way to having a good, rich profile. So these fields are going to be number 1, a complete name; number 2, a profile photo; number 3, having your ID check; number 4 being verified education details, and having your exact address with locations mentioned over there, and having reviews in your profile along with mentioning the languages you speak, and having a good, strong description and a good intro video. So let's go ahead and dig a little deeper into each one of these and see what these things are and how you can actually address them. So we'll start with your complete name. So the very first thing you need to remember is that if your name is, let's say, Vishal Mehta, then you need to enter your full name on your profile because that is what looks most professional. So don't use initials like Vishal M or V Mehta, or use nicknames and pet names and usernames like Vishu M and Playmaster Vishu or anything like that. That is all very unprofessional. So make sure your name is written in its entirety. So the second thing that you're going to need is a good profile photo. And a good profile picture is going to be one which is going to show you clearly, is taken from in front while you face the camera, and is sharp and easy to see. Now, if we were to look at the second half of this screen and see these examples here, we can go ahead and figure out why these are not good examples. So if we start with this one over here on the top left, so this is not a good example because this profile picture has been taken from too far away and you can barely make out the person in the photograph. Now, if we move over to the next one, this one is a little better because it has been taken from close up, or rather closer, but the person is wearing dark glasses, which is not a good idea for a professional photograph. Now, right under that, once again, we see the same issues as the first one, taken from too far away and barely visible. And in the fourth one, the person has just not uploaded a profile picture. But if we contrast these four with the one over here, you can see that it meets all the criteria. There are no accessories. It's a clear photograph, and it has been taken from up front while the person faces the camera. So remember, it is always important to have a good profile picture as well. Now we move on to the third and fourth points, which were to have verified information. Now, before we talk about that, let's quickly take a look at the difference between these two profiles visible here. So if we look at the profile on the right-hand side, there is verified info here, which is a phone number and an email which has been verified. But beyond that, the person has said that they have certain qualifications, but there is no verification available for this. But if we look at the profile on the left-hand side, now over here, what we can see that, yes, once again, the person has mentioned a lot of educational qualifications, but along with that, we can see that their education has been verified because the system has, they've uploaded the completion certificates and and it says education is verified. And we also see that they have gone ahead and verified their identity as well. So to check that, once again, on the left-hand side under profile, I'll click on profile information. And this time around, I will choose the UrbanPro verified badge option. So if I click on that, I can see that my very first option is identity document. And if I click on identity document, I can choose between a PAN card, a driving license, or an Aadhaar card, and enter the ID number and upload a copy of that document and click on Save Changes. Once the document is verified, it will change the identity document verification over here where it says that it failed, it will say verified. Let's now take a look at how you're going to actually verify your education details. Okay, so to verify your education details, let's switch back to the website. Here, what we're going to do now is we are going to once again under profile, click on profile information. And under profile information, we can click on the UrbanPro verified badge. And here we can see that there is an option to verify education. And if I click on that, I can see that there are 2-3 degrees or certifications which I have entered, and they are pending their verifications. So if I want to complete that, I can just click on verify now and upload the completion certificate for each one of these qualifications. And once they're verified, it will give me the education verified badge. However, if I want to add a new qualification, which I have recently achieved, then I can do that as well through add another degree / certification. So if I click on that, I can choose whether it is a new degree or a certification that I'm going to get verified. And this actually matters because degrees, of course, yes, obviously, to showcase that you have completed studies in that particular discipline. But certifications, again, become important when it comes to different subjects, like if you were a coach for the IELTS tests. So there is a certification that teachers who are helping students with IELTS have to have. And that certification, if you have got it and you have uploaded it and you've got it verified, that's a plus point for you. At the same time, for tutors who are teaching, programming languages. So if you have a certification in a particular language, then it is a good idea to have that also mentioned on your profile. So how you're going to do that is, let's say I select a degree and then I can choose what degree I have done. And I can also name the university. I can choose whether it has been completed or I'm still pursuing it. And if it has been completed, I can select which year it was completed in. And of course, upload the completion certificate for that particular qualification. Now, once all of it is verified, it will start showing on the website. And another thing you will see with this particular profile on the left is that not only has this person had their ID and education verified, they've also earned the UrbanPro verified badge, which will be earned once your ID and education is verified. Along with that, of course, they have a verified phone number and email address, and they have also gone ahead and verified their Facebook ID. So when a student or their parents see all these green ticks over here, basically they're going to feel a little more confident in you and your abilities. Okay, so moving on from the ID and education verification, let's talk about the exact address. Now, here it needs to be said that yes, when it comes to online tutoring, it doesn't always have the greatest impact on it. But if you are also looking to, teach offline classes, then making sure that you have the correct address in your profile is going to be crucial. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you can actually do that. So to do that, once again, we come back to our account, and what we're going to do is from the panel on the left, we will click on the option for account, and then we're going to click on the last option under it called settings. Now, under settings, the very first option we can see is inquiry locations. And when we come to inquiry locations, we'll basically be able to see the address that we have entered and what sort of a range we are looking at. And I'll explain the range in just a minute. But if we see this address and we see that it's incorrect or it's not valid anymore, so we can go ahead and click on edit, which will then open up this map view, which will then allow you to either enter your address or click on this little pink pin and drag it to your actual correct address. Once you put the pin exactly where it needs to be, you can click on set my location and make sure your address has been entered correctly and click on update. Now, once you click on update, the system will pick the new address, and based on that, it will show you a list of localities around your address, and you will then be able to select these localities and ignore those or unselect those or deselect those from which you don't want to get inquiries. Now, along with that, you will also have the option to change your radius, which I spoke of earlier. Now, what this means is that basically it will ask you within how many kilometers of a radius do you want to get inquiries from. So you can set it to a minimum of 5 kilometers or to a maximum of 25. Now, along with being able to adjust your locations and localities, you can also adjust inquiries for your online classes. Now, how you can filter those is basically you can choose online inquiries. And under that, what you can do is select whether you want to get all location or you want to get inquiries from outside India or within India. So if you want only from within India, you can select location, no locations outside India. Now, once you have selected India, you can go ahead and filter your inquiries by states and cities as well. And to do that, So you just have to click on the states, the second option, and click and select any of the states that you want to get inquiries from. Now, once that is done, if you want to add filters by cities as well, then you can just select specific cities in India and enter those cities. So let's assume I want to get inquiries from Mumbai. I'll just enter Mumbai and click on add. And let's say Bangalore as well. So I start typing Bangalore. It shows me the option here. I select it, click on add, and Bangalore gets added. So now what I can do is I can click on save locations, and the system will then start sharing inquiries with me based on these location preferences. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit, which is reviews. Now, what we have noticed on UrbanPro is that profiles which have at least 15 reviews tend to generate a good amount of confidence in students and parents. And that is pretty obvious if you look at the example in front of you right now, where you can see that the person on the right-hand side, they have no reviews. So you as a student or you as a parent would not really know how good or not this person is. But the lady on the right, she has 33 reviews, which you can click on and see what other students have been saying about this person. So it is always good to have reviews. Now, the important thing with reviews is that if you are new to the UrbanPro platform and have not, had the opportunity to get reviews, but you have been teaching in the past, then what you can do is you can take a link to your profile and share it with the students and ask them to give you a review. And how exactly you can do that, that's what I'm going to show you now. Now let's switch back to our profile once again, our account. And once again, we're clicking on profile on the left-hand side, and under profile, we have the option, the fourth option from the top, which is reviews. So when we click on reviews, we get the option to click on invite for reviews. So if we click on invite for reviews, you will get this screen where you will have an option to copy this link, which you can then share with your students. And you can do that via WhatsApp or Facebook or email or SMS, however you'd like. Now, what will happen is when the students actually go to this link, they will get to see this screen where they'll see you. They'll be able to leave a rating for you. They'll be able to select the subject that they studied with you and leave an actual review. Now, once they have done this, they will also be required to enter their name and verify their phone number via an OTP. And this is done to make sure that there is no abuse of the system. Okay, so this is how you're going to be able to collect reviews from students you have taught in the past. And this actually is one of the bigger advantages that you have with UrbanPro, because we don't restrict you to reviews gotten only from students you've taught on UrbanPro. You can share, like I showed you, a link to your profile with any student you've taught in the past and have them leave a review for you. Now, if you are somebody who is brand new to the world of tutoring and don't have any students who you have taught in the past at all, then the main thing for you to focus on is to make sure that you get your students. And once you get your students, make sure you get a review from them, because that is going to be very helpful for you in the future. And always remember that one review is always better than no reviews. So just keep at it and collect reviews whenever you are able to. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is the language proficiency. Okay, so why this actually matters is because you may actually come across students who might tell you that they would love to study with you, but it would be better if you could teach them that subject in their native language. What this means is that, let's suppose you are in contact with a student who's looking for a class 10 mathematics tutor, and you can teach the subject, but the student says that they are comfortable studying maths in, let's say, Marathi. Now, if you do speak Marathi and you have mentioned that language on your profile, then you already have a bit of an advantage, because the student would like to study in Marathi. You can teach in Marathi. So the chances of the student considering you automatically go up. Now, how you can set up the language proficiency in your account, I'll show you how to do that now. So we are back in our profile, our account. And what we're going to do next is once again click on profile information. And under profile information, we're going to now click on qualification and experience. And over there, you'll see the second option is languages you speak. So if you click on it, you'll get the option to add another language if you would like to. So you click on add another language, and let's say I speak Spanish. So I just start typing the name of the language and it will show up over here. But let's say if I speak some other language as well, let's say Tamil. Okay, so I can just select that, and then I can select proficiency criteria. Am I a basic user of Tamil, or am I proficient with it, or is it my mother tongue? So let's go ahead and select mother tongue, and then I'll just click on save changes. Now, if I click on languages you speak again, then you will see right over here at the end, Tamil has been added as one of the languages that I speak and will now be shown on my profile as well. So if there is any student who is looking for a tutor who can teach them in Tamil, then I stand a slightly higher chance of getting selected. Okay, so now we need to move on to the next point, which is a good description. So a good description is basically like a cover letter for your resume, and it basically summarizes your skill and your experience into one good paragraph, right? So if you look at the examples here, you'll see that this lady on the right, she has just written one thin line about how she can teach every topic easily and help the students get stronger in them. But that really doesn't tell us anything. If we compare her description to the one on the profile on the right, where this lady has mentioned that she has trained over 70 students in the past, and she has 16 years of experience, and she's helped them overcome their fears and things like that, right? So that description already speaks volumes more than the one on the right. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that your description is more about your skills and expertise, and also about your about your experience and what is so special about studying with you. Now, related to your description is the next thing, which is your intro video. Now, an intro video is basically a short video of you giving the same description which we just spoke of, but in video form. And why this is important is because video content is being consumed more and more these days. And if given a choice, anybody would really rather consume your description as a video than have to read it. Now, having said that, the next question is, what do you actually put in an intro video? So what you actually put in the intro video is everything that we discussed should go into a description. But with the intro video, you actually take it one step further by actually including a small clip of you teaching a subject or a concept to a student. And that will allow the student or the parent to actually judge and see what your style of teaching is like. Now, since the description and intro video are linked to one another, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the points that you should cover in your description and intro video. When you're making making an intro video and writing a description, you need to remember to answer the question, why you? And how you're going to answer that is with your name, mentioning the subjects that you teach or the courses that you teach, and talking about your experience with teaching, which could include the number of years that you have been teaching and how many students you've taught in the past, if you've taught at any colleges or institutes or schools, and what qualifications you have, what is so unique about the way you teach. And a sample here would of course be good if you are talking about the intro video. Then also make sure you mention how many students you taught, along with what sort of result your students got. And what this means is you could say things like, so if your students have been performing really well, then you could say that my students regularly score above 85%, or my students have been able to improve their scores by 20%, 30%, or how much ever is relevant. Now, the next thing you can mention in your description and your intro video would be to mention whether you are going to teach at your place or at their place, or if you're going to teach online. And along with that, you can also mention when you generally take classes. Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Or is it in the evening? Now, if you are running an institute, then you can also include information about how many classrooms you have, how many trainers you have on staff, and how many branches you have for your institute across the city or the state or the country. Okay, so that was basically a quick look at how you can make a rich profile. But that's not where it stops, because you can actually enhance your profile even more by following just a few simple tips. And those are tips which we're going to actually discuss now. So the very first tip is that if you have taught students, then tell the world about it. So what this means is that whenever you are in conversation with a student on UrbanPro, if the student, once you've contacted them, what you will be able to do is from your account, you will be able to click on the contacted tab and click on the three vertical dots on the top right hand side, which will then let you choose whether the student started classes with you or not. So whenever you click on yes, it will show up on your profile over here. So in this case, this person had 27 students whom she had taught in the past. And the moment she said that this latest student has also started taking classes with her, it was incremented to 28 students. So that is one way of showing how many students you've taught on UrbanPro itself. Other than that, as we discussed, make sure if you have taught students on other platforms in the past, then make sure you mention that number as well in your description. The next thing to do is to make sure you leverage your gallery with as many photos and videos as you can. And how this helps is basically by reinforcing your skill and ability to the student or their parent. And how you can do that is actually clearly visible in this example that we have in front of us. And now in this example, what we're looking at is the gallery of a dance teacher. And what she has done is that she has uploaded pictures of herself at various events. Now, if somebody were to come looking at this person's profile, what they would sense is that this person teaches dance and has actually participated in multiple events. That means they must really be good at their craft. So they would be more inclined to actually want to engage with this tutor for dance classes. So always make sure that you make the most of your gallery, and you can upload both photos and videos to your gallery to make it good and rich. The next thing is to remember that students generally use the rating system also to see who is out now, who is the top tutor and things like that. And that system actually depends on something called your pro score. Now, this Pro score is something which you can improve from your side as well. And it relates to both your profile and your subjects. And what I'm going to do now is show you how you can actually improve your Pro score. So to do that, once again, we're going to go back to our account. And this time around, we'll click on the dashboard. And once we're on the dashboard, we will click on the third tab over here called Standout. Now, under Standout, you will see that there is an option called Pro Score Details on the right-hand side. So if I click on Pro Score Details, I will be able to select whichever subject I want to see my Pro Score for. Now, over here, I've selected Spoken English. And for Spoken English, I can see that my Pro Score overall is 2050. Which is a sum of both my profile Pro score and my category Pro score. Now, if I want to improve my profile Pro score, what I need to do is click on this drop down next to expand to view details. And that will give me a list of activities which I can do to earn, a boost in my Pro score. So it could be by uploading profile pictures, verifying my details, mentioning the languages, etc. And whatever is completed will be marked with a green tick mark, and whatever is pending will have a gray tick next to it, which means that you can still complete this activity and gain a slight boost from it. Now, if you want to improve the Pro score for your subjects or the categories that you teach, then you can just click on expand to view details here. And once again, you can go through the activities which you can do over here to earn a little bit of a boost in your Pro score. Okay, so now that we know how we can improve our ratings, let's talk about some additional information. So when you make your profile on UrbanPro, make sure you mention things like if you're a part-time or a full-time tutor, and if now how many students you've taught, as we discussed earlier, if you do demo classes or not, and the pricing information. That is basically how much you're going to charge for classes. Now, the most important thing with all these things is to make sure that you keep all the information updated. And what that means is that in case you used to be a part-time tutor but now have shifted to full-time, then you need to make sure that you update your profile and mention that you are a full-time tutor and not a part-time anymore, because that information could be crucial to a student or their parents' decision-making process. So it is always very important to make sure all the information in your profile is up to date. Now, the next thing is when you do contact students, the wisest thing to do is to impress them with professional replies. And what that means is that when you do talk to the student or when you do message them and reply to their inquiries, you mention information which is most important to that particular situation, which could be things like your background information about your education experience and the students that you have taught. And if you do conduct batches, what time, when, and how long your batches run for, and what your availability is like, as in the morning or the evening or the afternoon. And if you are open to one-on-one classes and things like that, also make sure you mention what sort of a price range you're going to be, looking at for classes that you're going to teach, and also what curriculum you would follow, which could be teaching, ICSE or CBSE or state board, or you could be following some sort of a prescribed international syllabus for certain subjects and things like that. So it's always good to mention that as well. And the most important thing that you need to do with your reply is to remember that if the student has asked a question, a specific question in the inquiry, make sure you answer that, address that question, which could be something like, let's suppose a student has raised an inquiry and said that I am fine, I'm looking for class 10 maths and science tuitions, but I'm fine with maths, I just need more help with science. So you could reply, you could personalize your reply by adding something like saying that, yes, we can look into that and I can definitely schedule more classes for science and fewer classes for maths, and we can work it out or things like that. So that is always a very good idea. Okay, so that was all about how you can create a good, strong profile. Now, where do we go from here? So the next thing, obviously, is because of current rise in the demand for online education and online training. We have also built a set of tools, which I mentioned earlier, the UrbanPro Live Suite. And these are basically a set of tools that we have created to help you start teaching online right away. I won't go into too many details here because there's going to be another complete workshop which we're going to run on this. So I would highly recommend that as well to you if you want to know more about these tools. But here I can tell you that they are there, they are available to all of you, and you can definitely use them to start teaching online right away.